All right, guys. I recorded this once before earlier today. Energy was just strange, okay? And I trashed the reading. I feel like there was somebody who was not supposed to see that, and if you're watching this, it wasn't you, okay? So we are here now, and we are asking some questions, clearly. But these are some big questions about the past, I'm hearing. Questions about the past. There is some kind of energy lingering around, and I feel like, I'm not sure if I'm going to, but I feel like I want to do more than one reading, because when I sat down to do the reading, I was like, I was drawn to, like, I don't know, 5 different decks, which I'm not going to use all in this reading, but it seems like there's more than one kind of message that wants to come out. So I don't know if it's one of those readings where there's multiple different messages and you take what resonates and, not others, or if we're going to get a cohesive narrative here, but we'll see. And that in itself is probably a message for you in terms of whether you want to make something all string together, a recollection and memory from the past. Do you want it to make sense up until, I heard, the end point of your life? Or are you willing to take things kind of like a smorgasbord of experiences? That's a really interesting question. How much do you want your future to depend on the narrative of your past? Can you let it go in a way where it looks scattered when you look back and you can't quite make sense of it and you don't know if everything happened for a reason? So the cards that I got out here to start was retreat and freedom. And immediately I saw these as polar opposites, okay? Which is strange because I guess for some people retreating is freedom. You're retreating from the battle, so to speak, of whatever this looks like, which is, in my intuition, something about a past person, okay? I'm just feeling that that's the story that's going to come out. That's coming for you. I heard it's coming for you. Okay. So the way I'm seeing this as opposites is freedom is like breaking free, right? It's breaking free from yourself, from your memories, from your own, I heard, mental constitutions, okay? So it's your own thoughts. And how do you break free from your own mental constructions and your own thoughts? How do you break free from that? Well, it's by examining the darker aspects, the shadow aspects of that, and alchemizing them and making them balance each other out. I talk about that all the time on this channel, right? It's so important. And just as I was getting ready to sit down, I heard, and I thought it was directed towards me, but it is probably, but also you, about how arrogant it is to think that we've dealt with our shadow. We can deal with shadow aspects, but there's always so much more underneath the surface, or I heard on top of the surface as well. Okay, so freedom is really harnessing the dark and the light, both forces, and going forward, charging through something. I'm seeing these horses like run through something. Retreating, on the other hand, is this idyllic scene here where it's just a retraction, a subtraction of your energy. You're subtracting your energy from a particular situation in order to keep things calm. Not rock the boat, I heard. And this is good advice in particular circumstances, but I think what's coming is kind of a little bit of a wake-up call message, or something just for you to consider a little bit more. I mean, the severity of the message is all about your perspective and how you take it. Each person has their own reactions, etc., etc. You might just be, I don't know, doing your nails, watching this video, no biggie, right? Or you could be like laying on your bed and really thinking about it. It's all up to you on how you take this message. But the retreat, I heard, is more of an escape in terms of you're escaping yourself. Freedom is charging through this idyllic field or park, whatever this is, and messing shit up, ruining the landscaping. Like, this is landscaped, it's not wild and free. It's manicured. It's been designed There's even a stone wall here, so there's some kind of man-made structure. It's been designed to look beautiful. The sun is coming. Don't worry. The sun is rising. There's a new day coming. You know, everything's going to be okay. Or blah, blah, blah. That's not the truth. The truth is, there is no okay, I heard. There's no okay. The truth is, there's only forces. Active and reactive, and you want to be in the active. Now, they need each other in order to culminate in an energy, but in this point of time, what I'm getting is you need to be in that active force, not a reactive force where you retreat from something. You just push right through the gates. All right. So the deck I'm using, I forget the name of it. It's something weird. I can't remember, but I do not like this deck, okay? Here, let me get that title because I know somebody asked me to tell what decks I'm using. And I agree with you there because it is like, you know, tarot readers don't really say the decks. And before I started my own channel, I was like, what's the name of that deck? So I get it, okay? This is called the Dark Grimoire Tarot. All right. Now, maybe naming stuff is important to you, acknowledging stuff, naming stuff. Okay, I don't like this deck. I was trying to get rid of it for the longest time, which is weird because I never actually did anything to get rid of it. I just thought about getting rid of it. It's like I was trying to manifest it out of my environment. I don't know, but for some reason, it's stuck around. Now, I don't like it because I think it's ugly, aesthetically, but also the pictures are really disturbing. And I never, ever, ever called to it. I think the last time I picked it up was about 2 years ago. Okay, but for some reason, this is what I was drawn to, which is why I feel like this is going to be a heavy hitter reading because I'm being guided to use a deck that I abhor, that I don't particularly resonate with, that I don't like. But there is probably some imagery in here that is crucial for this message, okay? So that's a long-winded, roundabout way of saying that sometimes you just have to push through what's uncomfortable. Use tools that you have decided don't work for you just on the basis that they make you feel uncomfortable, not because they don't do the job, you know? So maybe there's something you need to return to, a particular thought form, I heard. Thought form. Or a relationship, a person that you know who could help you or saddle the horse. Now, this is interesting. This is coming to me. There's this really popular pop psychology kind of test that asks you all about, you know, how would you envision this desert or this field with a cube and a ladder and a horse, etc. And then there's a bunch of questions, and your answers are supposed to tell you something about your own psychology. So you can Google that and look into that. It's kind of interesting. It's fun, you know, to kind of see if it resonates, whatever is being said about your own psychology. But the point I'm getting to here, it's interesting, is like everything I say, I feel like I need to explain to you the point of it. Maybe that's something you need to release, needing to figure out the point, going back to that smorgasbord of experiences. Like, forget the point, because who cares, right? Just talk. The horse in that test signifies, spoiler alert, by the way, signifies how you see your relationships. And depending on where the horse is located and how, you know, it's acting and so forth, is supposed to represent how you see your ideal person. Now, I think that's really interesting because in a lot of ways, particularly our imagination of our ideal person, like before we actually have that person and just our ideal, is a complete projection of a mirror of what we want in ourselves, right? We either want someone just like ourselves, or someone who will complement us, so our weaknesses are their strengths and vice versa. It's an attempt to make yourself more whole in the imagination when you're imagining that perfect person. So how you imagine that horse is also how you imagine yourself in the long run. So is your horse wild and free, or is it tied up? Is it saddled? You know? I don't know why that's coming to me, but it seems important. Maybe somebody out there just did that test and that's something of interest to you. Okay, how are you organizing this? All right. This is interesting too, because I was feeling like I was going to do a more intuitive spread rather than, one like with placements that I typically do. But there was something needed about structure here. Structure is being called for. And look at my cards. Look how neat they are and structured. That's kind of peculiar for me as well. Like I don't usually do that so much. Sorry about my hand. So there's something about getting things in order to break free of them, or to see where there are the constraints. What's the constraint here? Okay. In your past, let me shuffle these first for the clarifiers. Okay. In your past, we have the Knight of Wands. Something about perspective, right? This is about your perspective of the past. Knight of Wands. Rushing into something. And I want to say something ugly. This knight is defending off these tentacles here, or whatever they are. And it's not looking good, but they're doing it with, I want to say gusto. They're doing it with a lot of gusto. But if this knight redirected its attention, I feel like it could have circumvented these tentacles and went down this tunnel where you see this light. Now, this is interesting because from someone else's perspective, they might say, well, the knight has to fight off of whatever's blocking the tunnel before he can go down it. But I'm not seeing it that way. So there's a question where you are unsure of whether your past was necessary for your future. Again, is it a narrative? Is it part of your story? Did it need to be? I believe that's a question that you're posing to yourself at this time. Okay, let's keep going. And we have Six of Swords here with the Ten of Pentacles. For some of you, you want recognition for being able to overcome a difficult situation in the past. Now, this could be a love situation, it could be a work situation, blah, blah, yada, yada, whatever you want, right? Okay, intuition, use your intuition. I don't know why I'm talking like that, but for some reason it needs to be said in this way. But there's some kind of recognition, celebration you wanted. It's like you did something difficult. You moved away from something. You defeated the dragon, I heard. You did something. Dragon within, dragon without. Again, I'm hearing yada, yada. So maybe you're fed up a little bit with this story. You're fed up with yourself. You're just over it. But you wanted there to be like this big celebration at the end, maybe people holding up signs, congratulations. And of course not on a literal sense, but it's almost like you went through this journey, this dark night of the soul, and nobody saw it but you. And you're kind of questioning if it was really real or not. Was it really necessary or not? Because you don't have a witness. Right? You don't have someone to witness the trauma and the pain or the heartache or whatever the hell it is that you went through, the disappointment. You don't have a witness. See, it's like you went forward with this kind of like headless beast here, Okay, so you went forward using your intuition. You know, it was a difficult journey. Whatever vehicle you were riding in to get forward, like your spiritual vehicle, was something that needed to be run by intuition and not sight. Like it was like you got a little bit of a jalopy, a clunker to ride in, right? To get out of this hell that you were in, I feel like, or this perception of hell. This perception of something blocking your way. And at the end of the road, you wanted some kind of party celebration. Again, metaphorical, or, you know, it could be literal if this is, say, like you actually achieved something. Like maybe you got a degree, right? And you wanted a big celebration after, and that didn't happen, right? Could be that. But there was some sense of recognition I feel like you wanted, yearned for, but you didn't get. And you've retreated from that desire, that want. You know, you're coming to terms with, well, you know, it's, I'm an adult, I heard. I'm a grown-up. I don't need to be patted on the back for getting over heartache. So you're retreating from that in order to give yourself a sense of peace. But it's not that at all, I'm hearing. No, like I'm really feeling the emotions like rising up in me. It's like, no, this is a spirit saying, no, you don't retreat from those. You do need a pat on the back. You do. I was going to say from yourself, but I'm hearing from someone. You do. You do need that other person at the end of the line in front of you. And it was interesting. I was talking about this partner is in your imagination, your idealized self. It's a mirror. Yes. But no, in terms of you do need somebody. We're social creatures. I mean, we could go live in the mountains forever, sure. But the way our brain develops is in social relation. It's a huge part of brain development and cognition and intelligence and so forth. So yeah, you need somebody. You need someone to say, good job. You did a good job. And you did do a good job. So I'm telling you, but you need someone as well on a more personal level. And it's okay to feel like that's part of your freedom. And you can have someone do that. That's what I'm hearing. You can have that. It's not denied to you. You will have that. That's what I'm hearing. If that's something you want, if you want to burst out in freedom and tell your story, share your heartache, whatever it is, you can get a good job. And I don't mean that to sound like condescending or belittling or something like that. And you shouldn't feel like that either, I'm getting. I don't know, this message is for someone really in particular. I feel like a very specific message. It might not resonate with everyone watching. But even if it doesn't, think about how this could be someone else's story. I heard because it could be yours, because one day it could be yours. Okay. Current energy. We have Knave of Wands, Page of Wands. Yeah, it's just this kind of still energy. It's like you're in between retreating and freedom. You're like, okay, I'm standing here waiting. What next? I've done the work. I've healed. I've watched a gazillion tarot videos, got my self-esteem up. I'm able to do my shadow work. I feel like I have some answers. Now what? So I feel like that's the energy you're currently in. But interestingly, there's some kind of volcano pyramid in the background that looks slightly explosive. It doesn't look too dangerous, but there's some knowledge here in the background that you are not taking with you that you need to on this journey. Now, what do we have? 9 of Pentacles. With the 6 of Cups, here's the past in the current energy. I knew we were talking about this past, okay? And yes, and this past, look at the sky. It's swirling around. same energy as the horses, right? It's not an idyllic scene in the past as it would be in the Rider-Waite, for example. This is a tumultuous past. This is chaos. This is potentially a tornado warning. Maybe it wasn't a tornado, but it was a warning, enough for you to, grab your belongings and go hide in the basement or whatever it is that you do, There's a nostalgia here. This woman's looking out at the past. Even though it was rocky, it was stormy, it was a bit chaotic, the storm never really came in to its fullest. I heard, and you can thank God for that. Okay, so the storm never came into its fullest, but you're reflecting in some way, almost about like what the storm would have been. It's almost as if you need answers, but you're going to tell yourself right now that you don't. And it's not really that you need answers. It's more like you need direction, an unbridled direction. Become the storm. Don't think about the past storm or someone else's storm. Become that whirlwind. Become that energy. Swirl yourself around in that energy and let it move you forward. And yeah, you might be a little bit chaotic and get out of hand at times, but ultimately you know where you're going. You do. It's almost ominous to you where you're going. It's almost like you don't believe it. You don't believe that you can have better. You don't believe, in some sense, that peace awaits you. Although you do. So I don't know if I'm picking up on like different energies, or it's just this retreat, freedom, smorgasbord, a coherent narrative. There's a fluctuation, almost a juxtaposition, but it doesn't, it's a fluctuation. You're definitely wondering what to do next. Where to go. And we have a 6 and a 9. Right. Okay, let's keep going and see if we can get some clarity. I'm really drawn to this card, though, particularly because of this ominous background. It's like shrouded in shadow, but there's a beam of light coming from the sky. It's like, yeah, you might not know what's behind this, or it might look really scary and overpowering to little you over here, but it's being divinely illuminated, I heard, for you. There's a divine illumination for you. It's almost like this yin-yang symbol is the light that's coming down. We have the shadow and the light here, shadow and light. It's like a conduit. Your willingness to just break through that scene, fuck up that manicured lawn. I don't know what that means to you, right? Like, it could be quitting a job, and this is not advice. This is just scenarios, okay? But it's whatever. It's just running through it and saying, fuck yeah, this is me. I'm going to do what I want to do, that makes me happy without hurting anybody else, right? Now, you might hurt their vision of what ideal is and peaceful and tranquility is, but as long as you're not doing harm to someone, then break the fuck out. You know what I mean? But it's okay. I'm hearing it's okay. You're at a standstill and it's okay. Let's keep going here. Now, this position is for how your person sees the situation. So we're just going to go with how your past sees the situation. So this could be a past person, past workplace, your past self. You choose your own adventure, I heard. You choose your own adventure. I loved those books when I was younger. All right. 10 of Cups. This person in this card took a major leap of faith. Huge. Looks like she just jumped right off a cliff, almost like she's skydiving, into the clouds, into this really narrow canal. Just fuck this. Fuck this. I want to be happy. And I feel like if this is how your past sees the situation, your current energy, if this is how the past is perceiving you now, or the collective energy between two people, let's say, if it's that, then it's like there's a perception that you just said, fuck it, I'm going for it. That you did do this. And I feel like you think you did this too. And you did. I heard halfway. Halfway. I heard halfway to nowhere. But that's not where you are. But yeah, it's halfway to nowhere. You need to keep going. That didn't mean to sound so bad though. Okay, clarified by the Six of Wands with the Knight of Swords. Yeah. All right. Look at this ugly motherfucker. Sorry about all the F-bombs and stuff, but I feel like if I'm using this deck, I can't be prim and proper, can I? Well, maybe you can. But yeah, it's like you need to jump into this energy, get ugly with it. This is how your past is seeing the current situation, that you're doing this, I'm free from everything. But really, you need to harness this too, this ugliness, this anger, this, and it doesn't mean you have to act out on it. That's not what I'm saying. But don't push it in a closet and forget about it, and then a week from now think there's a monster in your closet. Do you know what I mean? It's you. Something needs to be said from that primal place in you, that instinctual place, that place that got hurt on an instinctual level. Yeah, psychological and all that, but someone out there that I'm talking to got hurt in a way where anybody would get hurt that way. Like anybody would feel the same pain. Maybe not exactly the same, but the degree would be similar. It's a universal type of pain, which is interesting. I'm thinking about heartbreak here. I don't think of that as a universal pain, but it is something that most people can relate to in one way or another. And there needs to be that ugliness of that pain to come up and out. I'm like almost seeing like vomiting. It's gross. I knew I didn't want to use this deck, all right? But it's like vomiting. Almost this ugliness out, rather than flying into the air without a backpack towards this 10 of Cups, naive a little bit. Yeah, taking a risk, but super naive at the same time, right? Where are you going? Six of Wands. Now this is a card about public recognition, and in this deck there's some kind of Grim Reaper looking person or skeleton or whatever, monster, shadow self, coming in with a message, a letter. There's a letter, like an actual letter I'm getting. A letter, a text. There's something I heard floating out there. That could be metaphorical, but there's a letter that you have yet to receive from the past. This could be from another person, or it could be from yourself. Like I moved recently, well, not recently now, but to me it was recent. I moved and I found a journal, from, 2004 or 5 that I thought I had lost. And I read that journal the night before I moved. And there was a letter in that journal to me, from me, about starting a new chapter. And it was so synchronistic. It was so amazing. It was undeniable, that it was a message from my higher self. So there's something like that, either from another person or from you somewhere, somehow, that is yet to be received, I heard. It's going to validate these feelings so that you don't have to walk around pretending to be 10 of Cups or it's going to allow you to make your 10 of Cups more dynamic and authentic. How the past is seeing you in particular. 7 of Swords. Lying to yourself a little bit. Here's that monster in the closet. Now this guy's got a gun here. You know, he's ready. He's got his book here, so that could be his journal or whatever. He's got his gun ready to blast off. When I saw a rocket, I heard Elon Musk there. Okay, so I don't know what that's about. Maybe that's a particular message for someone. But I heard blast off to this shadow element that's coming out of the closet, but he fell asleep on it. He fell asleep on his own shadow. So yeah, it's good to let your guard down, absolutely. But in this particular situation, it's not about resurrecting your guard. It's about like ripping into that closet before you lay down to sleep and confronting it right away rather than waiting for it to come towards you, whatever this it is, part of yourself, another person, what have you. Like if you're in a moment of hesitation, you just can't move on, just go confront it. And again, not advice, just scenarios. Always trust your own intuition. Page of Swords with the 3 of Cups for how the past sees you. Looking at others for what to do. That's what I'm getting with these 2 cards. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be the truth of the situation. The past could be wrong here. You know, if this is past you, maybe, you know, a year ago you thought you'd look to others. You'd need help from others in a particular way where you don't. Maybe you need a pat on the back, but not help. There's a difference. There's a difference between a congratulations, you fucking did it, and I'm gonna help you. Maybe you need to delineate between those two. But your past, and if this is a person, they're seeing you look to others for help. It's almost like being an outsider a little bit. And I'm hearing, which is exactly what you want to be. An outsider. Free. How the past feels about you. King of Wands. Ace of Wands with the Devil. Excuse me. All right, guys. You are so powerful. Here is your light coming from your book, your Akashic Records, whatever you want to call it, your book of life, your story, your knowledge. Here is your book. And here is the devil seeing that light come from your book. But there's some kind of disproportionate energy going on here. Okay, this devil energy, whatever this represents, could put out that fire pretty quickly. And I feel like that's not the case. But this person, this King of Wands, now I'm calling it a person, that's interesting. So as soon as it switches to evil, it's not evil, but like a negative energy, I automatically throw it on another person. So think about that. That's interesting psychologically. Do you do that too? Or is this a part of yourself? Whatever this is, whatever past we're talking about here, they see you, or they feel about you, that you're easy to control in some sense because you haven't realized how fucking powerful you are. There's a little note sticking out from this book. You need to grab it. this is the letter that I'm talking about. And if you don't have a letter from the past or whatever, maybe you need to write as your past to you now. You know? Go backdate your letter to your current self and talk to yourself as the past. There needs to be some readjustment of your perception here, because this person feels that you are not as powerful as you are. And while it's not really your job to correct their perception or their feelings, like I said, it's not about retreating. It's about fucking busting through that and being like, no, I'm going to say it like it is. Now, again, I'm not saying that you need to confront everyone. That's definitely, it could be part of the message for some of you. But take this more as an energetic message, okay? I heard to be on the safe side, okay? So to be on the safe side. Take this as an energetic message, that you're not going to just retreat energetically and just, oh, I'm okay now. I'm just going to, you know. No, you're going to go through this with force, right? The only way out is through. Now I feel like I'm yelling at you. I'm sorry. Okay, but this is important. What else do I need to say about this, Spirit? I heard descent into hell, okay? There's a descent into hell about how the past feels about you in the present. It's almost like an Indiana Jones situation, I feel like, you know, the Temple of Doom or something. It's like you're going down and, you know, it's scary. But, like, you have all the skills to get out and, you know, the devil knows that. But they're banking on you not feeling that yourself. So you got to step into this King of Wands energy. All right. What does the past want for you? For you, I said. Interesting. And usually I say from you, but for you? Okay. The Lovers. Now look at this, Lovers. There's a couple here, right? They look pretty happy. Well, she looks a little upset, but, you know, we'll just say that this is a reunion of some sort, or a union. But there's somebody in the distance that is looking onward, perhaps your past. Like, something's missing from this picture. There's something missing from this choice, this new relationship, your perception of the past relationship. There's something missing here. You've forgotten something. What the past wants from you, and again, I was going to say for you, is to remember, oh, what's that sorry, not stupid, I mean, no judgment. No judgment, really, I didn't mean that. That song with Shakira, and I think it's Rihanna, Remember to Forget You. Yeah. Okay, I think that's it. But the lyrics are, maybe you want to look that song up, the lyrics. But it's like, I can't remember to forget you, or something like that I'm hearing. Your past wants you to remember to forget them. Just break free. Leave it in the dust. I heard, but take the feed, like the horse feed, like take the hay, like whatever it needs, but leave something behind. I don't know. I heard discretion, your discretion. Clarifying the Lovers, Death with Temperance. Holy, these are big cards. Okay, the past is speaking to you here. Big time. Multi-layered. You know, even if you're thinking this is another person, it could be, but it's more than that. It's the energies of the past as well. Something needs to end, no doubt. Something needs to die. By giving yourself new life. There's many people who have received congratulations and pats on the back that didn't deserve it. And that doesn't mean that other people will think you don't deserve it. That's a message I got. See this person here getting this water from this woman. You know, life force, recognition of life force, the importance of it coming out of this fountain of life, whatever it is. And then there's this kind of like shady character in the background like, yeah, I'm going to get me some too, right? And it's like, you don't really deserve that pat on the back, whoever this is. Or maybe that's how you feel. Maybe if we're talking about a past person, they want you to feel confused of whether you did a good job or not. But you did. And part of putting this to rest is to recognize that you did do a good job and that you will get a pat on the back from somebody, not just spiritually, not just from yourself, but from somebody will give you that. You deserve it, and therefore it will come to you. And again, like, I usually don't talk about like people needing other people, but this is a message. What you need to know about the past, the King of Pentacles. Well, they're just fine sitting in their temple of doom with all their riches, their fake gold and booby traps and whatever. Just sitting there, okay? Past you, past person. They're not moving forward. They're just plunkered. I heard plunkered down. The Hanged Man, see? The Hanged Man and the Two of Cups. They're stuck and this person's actually hanging. They're stuck, hanging, thinking about this Two of Cups. So if this is your past you thinking about a past connection, leave that in the past. Leave your past self to think about that connection. Move forward without it. This very much reminds me of this retreat scene here. So your past person or past self, whatever, has retreated while you are going towards freedom. Cool. So if we're talking about multi-dimensions of you, then part of you is retreating while part of you is going forward towards freedom. So don't worry about it. Maybe that's why the message is not to retreat now, because it would be like a doubling of the same energy. You need to direct the energy in a different way than what your past has done. Your advice, the Sun. I mean, what can I say here? That's not cliche. There's a light at the fucking end of the tunnel here, guys. Five of Wands with the Empress. Look at this Five of Wands. This isn't conflict. This isn't chaos. This isn't competition. This is the past meeting the present, having that sun in the middle and being like, all right, it's time to shoot this rocket up into space. It's time to break free. It's time to be these horses, dark and light, and go towards freedom. It's cooperation more than it is competition. The Empress, clarifying the Sun. You're growing. You're growing. The Empress is abundance, gives birth. The Sun grows things. It's all good, baby. That's what I heard. It's all good, baby. Don't you worry. You've already sought forgiveness for whatever it is you've done. And that's why the Empress is going to look at you, and instead of wanting you to bow your head or ask for forgiveness, the Empress is going to reward you with that pat on the back and give you the Sun. This is amazing. What's leading you out? Near future, the Moon. So we have the Sun and the Moon. So once you have this beautiful sense of complete, what's the word I want to say? Maybe this has to do with the soul or no. Serenity. Once you have this serenity, take that advice. It's advice. So break through shit, harness that ugly thing inside of you, get that heartbreak out as a form of moving towards serenity, right? Being ugly or showing ugliness is not a weakness. I said that in another reading, and this reading is so freaking long. But that's okay, because this is a long-ass journey. And once you do all that, you are ready to go, I heard, back to the moon. Back for a new adventure. Stronger. Creative. In touch with yourself. 7 of Cups with the Hermit. Yeah, this is a new adventure. Back into yourself as the Hermit. Back into that space. Right now, you do need some kind of external hug. You need an external hug. You need a hug. And once you get that and you feel good, you're strong enough to go back into the recess of your mind. Write down everything you learned in that book. Put it in that book and bookmark it. Because you're in the future, this is funny, your future self is going to write the book that your present self needs, okay? Yeah, it's a little bit of a mindfuck time collapse, but it's happening, baby. I don't know what this baby thing is about. And it's going to allow you to envision so many different possibilities. Not just this one tower here with the 9 of Pentacles, but a whole freaking city to move towards. And you're going to have your pick of what you want that future, present, and past to look like. Do they need to be together? Or is this just like a smorgasbord of shit that we can just say, hey, I got this from that, I got that from that, this is what I'm gonna do now, and I'm breaking free. All right, let's get one last card to close it out. I feel as though I don't know exactly what I said and I can't tie it all together, which is probably the point. Interesting. This was pretty powerful. Let's get an animal spirit for the collective. What am I going to title this? Maybe I'll leave it untitled and ask you to title it. That could be fun. Okay, let's see. Seahorse, equality. Wow, isn't that interesting? Look, these horses are busting out, right? Busting out, they're free. These seahorses are tied to this woman here. They're tied. They're not free. They're stuck. I heard release. I hope that helped you in some way. I'll see you next time.